Adam, do you think we need a celebrity to endorse our show?
Celebrities from the multiverse.
We'll just like, have get a perfect celebrity to match our
Show.
Who
are you thinking?
Well, our two names together give us a couple of options. I'm Scott. You're hi everybody. This is Solutions for the Multiverse. I'm Scott Maupin.
Adam Browse.
Right. So I'm Scott and you're Adam.
Yep.
Scott Adams is one celebrity. Do you know who this person is?
No.
He's famous for originally making a little cartoon called Dilbert.
Oh, he just got canceled. Big time.
Yes, he's more famous recently for being wild on the internet and
why would we want that? This is the worst.
So I don't think he's
actually, we're playing the game Worst Solutions game, or the worst suggestions game.
Well, see, what I'm doing here is I'm priming you because I'm going to flip it.
Okay.
If we flip our names,
Adam Scott
is an actor. He was on Parks and Rec. He was just in Madam Web. He does podcasts. I know him from a lot of different Comedy Bang Bang podcasts.
Oh, Adam Scott from Comedy Bang Bang. Is that the main guy who does Comedy Bang Bang?
No, that's Scott Ackerman. But
another Scott.
Adam Scott does side projects with him. Like, Are You Talking You Two to Me and Rim? Like,
great.
Whatever.
Let's get him.
Okay, good. All right. I wanted your permission. Yep. I think that's all I wanted to know.
Permission. Go for it.
Okay, cool. I'll dial up Adam Scott and say, look, my name's Scott. My co-host is named Adam.
Please.
We need you to endorse our show. Or come on at the very least.
Come on.
Right?
Yeah.
He's on a show called Severance, actually, that was just on Apple
TV. That's the main guy from Comedy
really
Bang Bang?
Good. No.
That is him.
No, Scott Ackerman is the main guy in Comedy Bang Bang.
I got confused.
But he's on there.
He's on there a bunch.
Adam Scott's on there.
Yeah. I watched Severance. I really liked
Severance is good.
I loved him on Parks and Rec. I loved him on Severance.
He was in an old movie called Torque, which was basically Fast and Furious with motorcycles.
Cool.
It did not blow up like Fast and Furious, but I remember him on that when I was in Japan, seeing him there.
Yeah, he's fun.
Okay, I'll go. Okay, I'll put that in the.
We'll
put that on the to-do list. We'll have Adam Scott.
We'll see
as soon as I can get him.
Yeah. All right. Well, we already introduced the podcast, but just so everyone knows, we always talk about new solutions every week. That's the concept.
That's the core.
That's the core. Yeah. That's funny that you said that.
Why? Wait, why is that funny? Oh, because I'm a comedy guy. So anything I say is funny.
Well, I was debating
debating
two solutions to do, but then you just said like the word that is one of them, and I was gonna do the other one.
Eat your own apple cores.
Okay, so now you said the actual idea's name.
No.
You just said the idea's name.
Wait, what? I'm joking.
This is weird. Okay, switch gears, Audible. We're going to do that one instead of the other one. We'll do the other one next week. Okay. So,
now, stay tuned, everybody.
So, have you seen this new... Okay, should I say the solution?
Sure.
Okay, the solution is Apple...
What?
The company Apple...
Okay.
Should... Instead of launching the Vision Pro, which is a bunch of crap, they should launch small modular nuclear reactors and call it Apple Core. That was the idea that you just said. Apple Core.
On.
That was weird. Did I cue you up somehow to say it?
No.
Whoa.
So wait.
That's the idea.
Apple Core. I just said that. Yeah. Okay, that's really wild. Yeah. But
so that would be
back up to the weird part where you're saying small portable nuclear reactors.
Nuclear reactors. Yeah, they're called SMRs, small modular reactors.
Like the thing in Iron Man's chest.
Yeah, but bigger than that. They're the size of the common size is kind of like a 2-story building, but a tube. They kind of look like you can build them all different.
A 2-story tall tube.
It's like a 2-story. Yeah, it's like
with nuclear reactor
20-foot
stuff
tall.
inside.
Well, think of a normal reactor. It's huge, like Simpsons, right?
I think of a normal reactor all the time, bro. I'm always thinking about normal reactors. You don't have to tell me.
The classic traditional reactor is, 50 stories tall, right? Think of Homer Simpson, where he worked, the big, huge,
the funnel,
yeah,
Chernobyl thing.
Exactly.
Okay.
So the classic reactor is ginormous, and it's extremely expensive. And this is what everybody says. Oh my God, nuclear is so expensive. So even though there's all these problems with nuclear, but the worm hath turned on nuclear in public opinion.
The worm hath turned.
The worm hath turned.
Is that a phrase to you?
Yeah, there's a phrase. The worm. Actually, I think it's the worm doth turn. But
where is it from?
It's just a phrase in English. It means like there's been a sea change. It means there's been a reversal. The tables have turned. The worm
You wake up.
hath turned.
Good morning, Adam. The worm doth turn, Herman. You're
Maybe
like,
it is hath turned. Maybe it's the worm hath turned. Anyways, the
I've
point is there's been
I've heard a lot of
reversal.
phrases.
So a lot of people,
I've heard
like
a lot of sayings,
environmentalists, were like, first environmentalists were like against nuclear from the 60s and 70s. And then even in the 2000s, people like kind of progressives were kind of against, environmentalists were kind of against nuclear.
Right.
But now a bunch of really smart like environmentalists are actually like, no, we definitely do need to do nuclear. And it was a big mistake to like slow down and stop nuclear at all. We should have been doing it this whole time, because people are starting to weigh risks against each other. And the risk of climate change is at this point entirely imminent. Like we are already hurtling towards worse, very bad scenarios. And I know there's like optimists out there who are like, oh, but the government policies on the books will limit heating to 2 degrees centigrade. It's like, it's like, when have you believed governments to like do things on the timelines they say they're going to do? Like everything's quadruple the budget and 10 times the length. So yeah, so I think we're hurtling towards this negative outcome. So people are starting to realize, oh, the long-term risk of like managing nuclear waste and, building reactors that are kind of expensive is way smaller than they for certain near-term risks of the oils, the hyperstorms and millions of refugees from moving out of droughted.
Can we just not build them near like places where tidal waves?
So this is the cool thing. Don't build them by the ocean. But here's the cool thing: these small modular reactors are like the future. And people are already doing this. And this is how Apple builds products. So
people are doing their own small modular nuclear reactors.
I have 2 in my basement.
Shut up. Is that why
Iron Man?
Is that why my hair stands
up? I have
up
it right on my chest. I put it into my chest already.
There's a vague hum everywhere when I get near your house.
It's delicious. Keeps everything nice and toasty, nice and warm. No, so let me explain how Apple builds products. Okay.
All right.
So Apple innovated.
Wait, I know this answer. They have a factory with nets around it because it makes people miserable.
Oh my God.
And then they work them 26 hours a day building phones.
Those are probably Apple's suppliers.
Okay.
Those are Apple. Maybe it is Apple. I don't know. But here's how Apple builds products. They do not. So people think Apple's innovative, and they are sort of innovative, but they're not actually like breakthrough innovative. What they do is they find a market. And they wait until that market develops, and a bunch of people spend a ton of money developing that market, developing consumer awareness for that product, developing the technology for that product. And then Apple comes out late in that competitive process with their take on that thing inside of their vertical integration system.
I thought you were going to say they buy over the company.
No, they just do. Well, they do make small acquisitions around in the space.
But a lot of times they'll just
But then they make their own product. So like Bluetooth headphones. Remember those like ugly plastic, like gray, like Bluetooth headphone things that people would have?
No.
That were like they were on their face, and they looked like little torpedoes, and they'd go on their ear.
Oh.
And it was like a Bluetooth headphone.
Okay. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So that was already there.
Yeah.
That was already there. That was a developing market.
Right.
And then Apple came out with the AirPods, and it just obliterated it because the AirPods, you just opened the little opening case and it synced with your phone instantly. They pop in, they pop out, they charge, they got a battery, they got a thing. It's like perfectly in their ecosystem and disrupts that growing market.
I've never used AirPods. I've never had an iPhone. Do you?
Mm-hmm.
Are they that much better? Like,
They're amazing.
Are they really good?
They're amazing.
Because I mean, I have cordless earphones and I think they're great. They're fine.
Yeah.
But
Apple headphones are just fantastic.
Okay.
And then a lot of the ones you see now,
is that why they dominated though? Because
Apple.
they build out, like, not just come out with the same thing, but come out with a high quality like version that people like.
High quality version and integrated into their vertical
streamlined
sort of system.
And they've already created this brand desire where now they're like, well, if I'm choosing between two things and one's the Apple brand, I'm the Apple brand person, so I buy the Apple brand.
And it's not completely like I'm the Apple brand person, like I'm the Prada brand person. There's a reason. I mean, they integrate with your other devices perfectly.
Okay.
Like I can sit down on my couch and put in my Bluetooth earphones and press power on my Apple TV, and it instantly syncs because it knows it's in my ears, and so it just contextually.
So they know the importance of that frustration point of trying to get something to connect and it not connecting over and over, and having to turn off your one thing and turn off the other thing and turn off your Bluetooth and then turn it back on.
Exactly. That doesn't
happen.
And
they're like, if we can eliminate that, if we can prioritize this thing connects instantly.
Right.
People are gonna put it ahead of other things in far ahead. Okay.
This is called like it just works.
All right.
That's sort of the user experience theory.
So the nuclear reactor syncs to my phone.
Yeah. So you can track all your nuclear reactor energy. So here's my premise. The small nuclear reactor market is exactly at that moment when Apple usually swoops in and like releases their version.
It's that stage of evolution.
That stage, yeah.
Okay.
There's already like lots of little companies and even big companies have put a lot of money in to like make a lot of headway and like develop people's awareness of it and develop technologies that are breakthrough technologies you need to make it work, and have tried a few things and a few things didn't work and a few things have been working. This is the perfect time for Apple to do it. Now, why should Apple do that? 2 reasons.
I got a third reation.
What's your reason?
Well, I mean,
I was going to say climate change.
Oh, go ahead. No,
the first reason is climate change. The climate crisis can't just be something governments do and green companies do. It has to be something that every single corporation does. They have to change everything they're doing and fix the climate change. That's for sure.
And the bigger the corporation, the more you need to do.
And the bigger the corporation, the more responsibility you have and the more opportunity you have to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. The other reason is that this actually, I believe, fits into Apple's ecosystem, not necessarily to their consumers, but it fits into Apple's ecosystem in the sense that the consumers are all charging their phone. It's all electricity.
Yeah.
And Apple has these huge data centers that all use a huge amount of electricity.
Yeah.
And these modular nuclear reactors could be used in those data centers and chip factories and every part of the ecosystem that, battery factories, everywhere where you need energy, that Apple could be then selling these Apple core small nuclear reactors.
Yeah. I mean, and the same way that like one of the assets of having a Tesla is that you get access to these Tesla superchargers wherever you go. It's like, here's free electricity generated by us. You're like, all right. I mean, if that was...
Well, it's not generated by them, but yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
well, if that was Apple's...
provided for you.
If that was Apple's like thing where they're just like, we're...
Have you ever heard of Project Titan?
No.
This is Apple's self-driving car.
Oh.
Apple's building a self-driving car.
Cool.
To do exactly this. The same playbook I just told you, they're doing it for self-driving cars.
Okay.
They're waiting for Tesla and Waymo and Cruise and Zoox and
I was going to say,
to do all the mistakes and develop all this technology and train all these employees. And then Apple will just come out with the Apple car. The project's called Project Titan. Who knows what it'll be called?
iCar.
God, what a horrible name. Probably Apple. They've gotten rid of the I stuff. They're switching over to Apple X. Apple this.
That's
Apple
true.
That.
That's true.
Maybe they'll call them Apple. Or air car.
Car plus.
CarPod. CarPod is pretty good.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Tim Cook, do not do that.
Do not do it.
I know you're listening. Don't call it a CarPod. But I was going to say the third thing, the one that I was going to say is that companies, big companies, are trying to buy things and get bigger. And like Disney sort of has the corner now on media where Apple's a media company, but Disney's like, we'll buy Fox and we'll buy Apple. This. They're gonna if Sony comes up for sale, Disney's gonna gobble them up because Spider-Man or whatever. They'll buy Marvel, they buy Star Wars, and so Apple's like, okay, I guess we'll start buying like nuclear reactor. Like we need to pivot somewhere, and this is another space. So
they did this for streaming. They let Netflix and all these, HBO, all these people start everything, try things, develop a whole sort of flow of how things got created and purchasing agreements worked and how actors thought about the new streaming marketplace. And then they launched Apple TV.
Who kicks the door in and comes right into the room? Ted freaking Lasso.
Exactly.
Walks in the door and says, welcome to Apple,
people
everybody.
Love Ted Lasso.
Yep.
They love it. Yeah, and Morning Show, people love that. And Killers of the Flower Moon just recently was like really big and important. So it's just like Apple does this. This is their playbook. So the solution today is do this for small modular nuclear reactors. They can do it. They have a supply chain to build things like this. They are now we got to get into small modular nuclear reactors.
We got to get into
so people learn about this. Okay,
please.
So these are
two of us are the people to tell people about nuclear reactors.
I know some. I've educated myself.
I do not.
I'm not an expert,
please,
but I've learned a lot about it. Okay, so basically the idea is
bulk of the lifting.
Basically the idea is if you build a nuclear power plant, any time in history, even current ones that are being built, they're totally bespoke. They're built completely.
Bespoke?
Yeah, they're
like artisanal.
They're bespoke. They're built by hand. There's not.
I imagine something like a steampunk thing with like people turning wrenches and gaskets and different things, and it's going.
They have like a thing on the side of their top hat.
Christopher Lloyd from Back to the Future, like something that he would build, like some weird.
That's how nuclear reactors are built. They literally. Yes,
what?
They're not standardized.
Oh my gosh.
They're not standardized.
You're freaking me out.
No, it's true.
All right.
Every nuclear reactor, they have some standardized things. Like you buy wire, it's all going to come wire. You buy tubes, it's going to be tubes. But if you
buy some tubes, buy some wire.
If you need to like move air around,
I don't know. It's going to be wire's going to be wire.
Vents, you buy fans. They're all kind of things. But if you say, okay, what's the constellation of all those things into a nuclear reactor? Everyone is very different.
Okay.
They each do it a different way. And then when they do it at a certain scale, to a certain size. And then all these problems come up. And it's like they have to overcome all these problems. It's a huge engineering problem because everything's different in every location. Okay. And the cooling systems are done a little differently. Oh, we'll do it this way this time. We'll do it that way. We'll do it a little better next time. So every single time it's like different. Okay. The small modular nuclear reactors eliminates that. Every single one is just like a self-contained nuclear reactor that's built exactly to spec.
Okay.
And then it goes into a system. It plugs into it like a system that is also to spec. So if you want one, you just order it. Whatever. If a hospital wants to have endless energy, it would be off the grid. Like say a hospital says, we don't ever want to be on the grid anymore. Like Mayo Clinic doesn't want to be connected to the American grid. They just want to be off the grid and be totally protected. They could just...
And job security. I mean, if they have constant nuclear radiation going out into their community, then they're going to have more people coming in
radiation.
Needing treatment. Oh, sorry. What?
This is these are extremely safe. These are extremely safe. So what they do is they order it. It arrives on like a truck, and the specifications of where it needs to be plugged in, the people show up, they dig a hole that's 2 stories deep, like a 25-foot hole.
Right.
They fill it in with concrete. They build the electricity, wiring so that the electricity can come out, transformers, whatever it needs, everything it needs.
Sure.
And then the nuclear reactor just gets slotted in like a battery, and then it just gets like cemented over the top, and all that comes out is power, completely self-contained.
Okay.
And it's all has.
Is that possible?
That's what it is. This is what small modular nuclear reactors are. They require they don't require maintenance, and when they do need maintenance, the company comes and does the maintenance. So there's no like.
Well, how are you going to do maintenance on something that's encased in a mile of concrete?
Well, I don't know if they encase the top. I can't remember if they really close it off. But
there's a way to get into it.
It's completely self-contained, and you don't go in there. Only the people from the company go in and do anything in there.
Right.
You just order it and pay the money, and they show up and they put it in, and then now you have free power. It produces megawatts of energy, like huge amounts of electricity.
Okay.
And you can have them in series. So say you want triple that, you just buy 3 of them, and they're in series.
You think these are safe enough? You'd be okay with one being like next door to you?
I'd eat breakfast on top of one every day.
Wow.
I wouldn't care at all.
All right.
Yeah, no, because it's just science. The radiation can't get through. I think they're also encased in the tube inside has the actual radioactive uranium fuel rod is inside, and then that is encased in, I think, water.
Sure.
And then that's encased in the actual tube, which has multiple layers. And then that's put inside of the cement thing, and then that has safety things all around it. And every layer has sensors, and all of it is sensorized, so everyone knows what the temperature is all the time, and it's always, it's totally maintained and protected and safe.
Now imagine that within one of those tubes, there's actually a tiny spider Okay. Now follow me on this.
Okay.
The tiny spider is in the radiation, but it's small enough to get through the crack.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Do you see where I'm going?
And I'm sitting there eating a croissant.
And you see the spider come up to you, and you just squish it with you just stomp on it and smash this spider.
I went another direction than I thought.
Because I kill spiders.
Isn't it crazy that you said apple core?
That is weird, dude.
I didn't prime
that was
you to
not
do
set
that.
up at all.
I didn't set that up. That's weird.
Yeah, that's
creepy.
A synchrony.
We are
synchrony?
Like,
that's not the word. Synchronicity.
Synchronicity, yeah. So Apple could do this.
Yeah.
They could be saying, this is our climate pledge. Also, I'll just point out the energy market in the world, right? Because Apple's a global company.
Yes.
The energy market in the world is, I mean, I don't even know the number, but it's got to be, 10, 100 times larger than the personal electronics market? Which means from a business perspective, this is like a big opportunity to make like a lot of money, like more money than they could make as an electronics company.
I think so. I mean, to become a utility essentially is
and they could do it. They could pull it off. They have the global footprint, the manufacturing relationships, supply chain, engineering ability, cash on hand. And they have a couple $100 billion just cash. They could pour that cash into this investment. It would be a worthwhile investment to do.
And it lets you pivot your society into an electrified society.
Society.
I mean, it's like Tron cities or like Tokyo, where things are, you can use power to do all sorts of new things that you didn't even think of. You can have sections of you can start doing maglev trains everywhere. You know what I mean? Like high speed rail becomes a reality.
And then you plug into the nuclear reactors, you can plug in green hydrogen. So this is what people are talking about. Green hydrogen is just
sounds dangerous. Sounds toxic, bro. a bunch of green hydrogen gas. Now that's where your superhero comes from.
So green hydrogen. So there's blue hydrogen. There's gray. I think it's gray hydrogen, blue hydrogen, green hydrogen.
And pink and red, and then they all have Megazords,
and then
right?
And then they Voltron. they go form hydrogen Voltron
and they
together.
Take on the Rita Repulsa. I got you, bro. I understand.
Yes, you are way ahead of me.
So the green hydrogen rager. What are you saying?
So you say you don't want to have electric cars because you don't like, I don't know, you think the batteries wear out or something, and you want to have hydrogen cars. This is not a crazy idea. Actually, Toyota is not investing in lithium-ion cars. They're investing way more in hydrogen cars, which sounds crazy to a lot of people, but actually that's what they're doing. That's what the biggest car company in the world is doing. No one talks about that.
How do you fill up a car, like a hydrogen fuel cell? Do you have to fill that up? Do you go to a place and put hydrogen in your car?
Put hydrogen. I think they make the cells, and then you just take the cells and replace empty cartridges with new cartridges. You don't like fill it.
Do you do that at your house or
no? Just stations, or they could be delivered to your house.
I just don't know that process. I don't know.
That's one of the things they kind of have to figure out. But mostly they put them in these like tanks.
Because I understand. Plug my car into this thing in the wall,
right. Because it's like gas.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
I understand. Put gas in.
You would not do that with hydrogen because the hydrogen would be under high pressure. So you put it in this like tube that's safe, wrapped in, aluminum and strong metals and carbon fibers and
like
stuff.
Those CO2
to really protect it. And then it'd be really under pressure. You would not want to like shoot this thing with a gun, that would be bad, but it would be safe otherwise. And then you'd put it into your car, you'd slot it in, and you'd slot the empty one out and slot. Probably, I don't really know exactly, but I think that's what they do.
That's not important.
But anyways, green hydrogen. So right now, most of the hydrogen in the world is gray hydrogen, which means they burn. They're burning coal or they're burning natural gas, and actually hydrogen is released from that, and they gather it, and then they're like, here's some hydrogen, but that's not carbon neutral. That's bad. You don't want to burn natural gas to get, you want to get green hydrogen. So then there's blue hydrogen. Blue hydrogen is where you generate hydrogen from electrolysis. So you put electricity into water, and then water unbinds itself. So H2O becomes H2 and O2. Right. So you get your hydrogen out of that. That's called blue hydrogen.
Does that create ozone?
No.
Is that O2? No, that's O3.
But the problem is blue hydrogen is when you do that with electricity generated through burning coal still, like burning not fossil fuels.
Yeah.
Green hydrogen is when you do electrolysis with renewable energy.
Okay.
And now there's a bunch of subsidies for green hydrogen. And if you're creating hydrogen, you have to now prove to the government that you are producing it in a green way, not with blue or gray way. And there's subsidies for that. So that means there's subsidies for you to take one of these nuclear reactors or 20 of them in series and be a green hydrogen producer. even a gas station, which was like a hydrogen gas station, could have one of these nuclear reactors or two of them on site and have its own electrolysis hydrogen generation on site and be producing. So essentially today you get gas out of the ground in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
You ship it all the way to America.
Tankers.
They put it on trucks. They ship it to every gas station and they transplant it into the ground. This you would just there would just be a station and it would just be producing all the energy that all the cars needed to have hydrogen.
I like that.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
And it's totally safe. And there's a recycling aspect here. So when you use a uranium rod, like a fuel rod,
when I use one,
when you use it, what do you do with it? Tell me what your day-to-day
Me, I like to decorate with uranium rods around the house from here to there to kind of brighten up a dark space with a warm
nice
glow.
Warm orange glow. I do them like in my fingers like this, and then I rave.
Oh yeah, I've seen the videos of you doing that on TikTok. People are like, you could use glow sticks. You're like, no, uranium.
Let's use uranium fuel rod.
A little hot, but
so when you use up a uranium fuel rod, say it's at the end of its life, guess what percentage of it has been used?
It's going to be low. It's got to be low. I don't know.
5%.
No.
Yes. 5%.
You've only used 5%?
Yes.
And then they're like, all right, chuck it.
It's done. Because all that 5% is scattered throughout the whole thing.
Okay.
And so it's not going to give off nearly, it's not going to do what it's supposed to do.
Because you
keep shooting things at it to try to keep fissioning.
It's a flat.
And it's not going to fission anymore because the reaction can't go through it. Because the reaction's a chain reaction. It has to go through it.
Yeah.
It stops going through it because it keeps hitting dead ones already.
It's like a flat soda. Like you pour the soda. It's all nice and sparkly. You drink it, and then you only drink 5% of it, and then it goes flat, and you're like, "Oh, just pour it out."
It's anything that takes like a network effect, like an echo effect. If you dampen it, then it stops. It retards the ability to go all the way through it. We're not supposed to say that word, but
I think you used it correctly.
I'm just. Sorry, guys. This is not a politically correct podcast.
Yes, it is.
Okay, sorry. It
sort of is.
So basically, here's the thing. There is a way to recycle them. So you can take that 95% good uranium rod,
right,
and you can recycle it into 100% again and send it back out to
put it in the blue
job.
bin.
Yeah. So Apple, with the launch of Apple Core, could say, this is a closed loop system. Not only are we planning the full development of Apple small nuclear reactors that are much cheaper and extremely affordable, because we're using our full kind of engineers and our full, abilities and ecosystem and manufacturing to do this. So it's way cheaper and you trust it because it's Apple and it's fully integrated into our power systems are using our own Apple Core stuff. Actually, maybe it can't be called Apple Core because maybe that's the name of their chips already. Aren't the M3 chips? Aren't those called Apple Core?
I don't know. Well, you slipped with Apple Nuke there for a second. I was like, no, that's not a good
one. No,
you can't have that one. So I was thinking Apple Core is not a bad branding.
Anyways, so they could launch that all, and then they could say, this is a closed loop system. We're going to also recycle all of it, which you wouldn't have to recycle the first one for 30 years or 20 years or whatever. Like they last a decade.
And recycling it is dig out the giant concrete.
They take out the tube,
crack it
which
open.
Is all, no, they don't, well, they take it into a very safe, they truck it away, totally sealed.
Okay.
In a very safe environment, they deconstruct it, pull out the tube.
Right.
Safely, carefully do the process of recycling it. And then that's connected to the manufacturing factory that's making the next one, right?
And what I love about that is I don't have to think about it for 30 years. Like that's going to be those people's problem.
You never have to think about it.
Bro, 30 years from now, I'll be retired and enjoying the effects of climate change, I guess.
And Apple can charge not just for the manufacture of these things, but they can charge a subscription. So they can say, okay, you're a hospital who wants to do this, or you're a green hydrogen place and you want one of these, or you're a whatever and you want one of these. Great. You buy it for, $25 million, which you can then finance over its whole lifetime because it's insured to work for 30 years.
Right.
And we want a subscription that whole time too for all the maintenance and everything. And then you have a recycling fee at the end, all baked in.
That plan is not dissimilar to the ones where you get one of those full solar roof things where you it's a huge upfront investment and then it pays off slowly over time and you do a subscription to whatever whoever the generator
and you
people.
insure it and everything. Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know if this works
way
out.
More stuff.
I don't know if this works out with what's called the levelized cost of energy. The levelized cost of energy.
What is
LCE? That's how you compare apples to apples between different methods of generation of electricity. So if you look at like wind, solar, natural gas,
the best bang for the buck.
Yeah, exactly. These are also different. How do you really compare their costs? Well, you do this thing called levelized cost of energy. And so I don't know exactly what it boils down to, but the cost, I know that small modular nuclear reactors are right now having like a breakout moment. Like they're happening. This is it. They're starting. There will be SMRs. They're called SMRs, small modular reactors.
Okay.
They're already happening. I heard a podcast the other day of a guy who's the CEO of.
I've heard of ASMRs.
Yeah,
those are little
similar.
They're like
nuclear
reactors. Can we tell you about these nuclear reactors?
That's my
trap.
Do you get the freeze on from ASMR? No.
What's the freeze on?
Like that's some people get this like really.
I don't think it does
experience.
For me. No, I don't think I have that ASMR thing.
I just like everyone.
It's
likes
just fun.
It, but yeah. But anyways, you'd have to look at the levelized cost and everything, and you'd have to see what Apple would say the levelized cost of energy is for them and their supply chain and their sort of whole financial setup.
Do you think that's the next step toward like smaller and smaller nuclear power? I mean, I'm trying to get to Iron Man, but
this is the next step. Yes.
Well, I'm trying to get to Iron Man, but not get to Terminators. You know what I mean? Like, I want that power to be powering human suits, but not powering AI robots.
Good luck. Good luck.
Do you know any way to do that? Is there a way to?
One of the reasons people are building I've a couple companies that are building like humanoid robots. They were actually inspired by the Fukushima disaster, because in Fukushima there was like I guess there were things in Fukushima where it was like the doors were all closed and it was like you can't go in there or you'll die of radiation.
Right.
But literally if someone just could have walked in and like turned a knob, it would have like stopped the whole thing.
And
so if they just had
sacrifice
like
yourself moment.
If there had been a humanoid robot, they could have just walked in and done it. They could have stayed in there for hours, and then they would have been a radioactive robot at the end. You would have to destroy it, but who cares? It's a robot, right? So actually, some people are this is sort of a safety thing. But these SMRs things, their chances of going like nuclear or whatever are even like already modern nuclear reactors. There's like no chance of them going like Chernobyl. Very low.
Okay. I was like it's happened in my lifetime.
Yeah, but times. Here's the thing about nuclear though. People should not be so scared of nuclear, especially not the small modular reactors. And the reason is, if you look at the number of people who have died due to different energy sources, this is a critical thing. The number of people who have died from nuclear energy is like in the last like 50 years is like 10 people. It's like nobody.
They've had less time to go than coal.
But coal, even just now, coal is like hundreds of thousands, like millions, because they get lung disease and they die, and everyone's like they died of lung disease from the coal. And it's not just the coal miners; it's anybody who lives anywhere near a coal power plant gets terrible, particulate
oil.
Coal in there.
Oil's guilt free, right?
Totally guilt free.
Oh, that is weird. We started talking about an Apple.
Yeah.
Well, that is weird synchronicity.
No, it's so weird. I was going to talk about something completely different. It's weird.
This is how you find out that I've hacked your phone.
Yeah, right. You just know the ones. No, there's no way, because you still wouldn't know, because I make the decision at the very last minute. I decide at the very last split second what to do.
This is how I tell you I have Professor X powers.
That's true. That would be a solution. That would be a good solution.
Having Professor X.
Yeah.
Here's the solution. Have Professor X.
I guess one of the rules of SFM is it has to be plausible. It can't just be fantastical. It's a global...
We actually have, we do have listeners in
That's true.
Every continent.
Yes, every continent.
There is like one person in South America that's like holding us strong there. I don't know who it is. If you're the person in South America that keeps listening.
This is great.
You're keeping us on all the we have more in other ones, but I love this, the one in South America. I'm like, who is this?
Soluciones del Multiverso. Perfecto. Everyone is welcome. We are a global podcast.
Yeah. Buenas noches, everybody.
Buenas noches. All right. Take care, everybody.
See ya.
Just keep it climate-y.
Bye.